In the late 19th century, a group of African Americans traveled westward seeking freedom. The Exodusters, as they were known, were the first general migration of blacks after the Civil War. They migrated from the states along the Mississippi River to Kansas to escape the heavy chains of slavery. There were as many as 40,000 Exodusters who left the South to settle in places like South Dakota, Colorado, Oklahoma, Montana, Nebraska, Kansas, and Mexico.
Why were they called the Exodusters? It goes back to the book of Exodus in the Bible. An exodus is a huge movement, and the dusters reference is due to the fact that they moved across dusty regions.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Pap Singleton. I was an American activist and businessman known for my role in establishing African American settlements in Kansas. I was a slave in Tennessee but escaped to freedom in 1846. I became a noted abolitionist, community leader, and spokesman for African American civil rights. When the year 1862 came around, I returned.
Hey, did you say 1862? That's the year I was born. I'm Ida Bell Wells Barnett, but people call me Ida B. Wells. I was born into slavery in Mississippi, but when I grew up, I became a journalist and an early leader in the civil rights movement. That led me to become a founder for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. I also documented lynching in the United States, which was a terrible way too many blacks died in the hands of mobs. I did a lot of work on women's rights and the women's suffrage movement as well.
When I returned to Tennessee in 1862 during the Union occupation, I concluded that blacks would never have equality in the South. Yes, it was me who organized the Exodus movement of my people to Kansas.
The Ku Klux Klan and the White League were two of the worst racist groups against African Americans. These groups were extremely violent to many African Americans and were considered terrorists. They were one of the main reasons the Exodusters moved westward. They grew throughout the southern areas. The first Klan out of three started in the 1860s and died out by the 1870s. The second group grew nationally in the 1920s. They made their own costumes and symbols in order to terrorize people. They mostly lived in urban areas of the Midwest. The second group added cross burnings and mass parades, along with code words as rituals. The third group used murder and violence against activists in the civil rights movement. Groups such as this exist to this day.
Cotton farming was a big area that had racial conflict, mostly in the 19th century. The southern cotton farmers that were black faced discrimination from the north, and a lot of white Democrats were concerned on how many of them were getting employed in the U.S. cotton industry. They sent white farmers in the South to control the industry. It resulted in strikes by black cotton pickers from time to time. Blacks who were led by the Colored Farmer Association organized a strike in Lee County in 1891, and it resulted in a lot of violence.
Civil rights of African Americans began after the Civil War. The Civil Rights Movement aimed to stop biased racism against African Americans. The year 1865 held two main events for African Americans. The 13th Amendment was ratified, which freed slaves, and Union troops came to Texas in June to impose the Emancipation Proclamation.
Freedmen seek new lives as their country recuperated from the wreckage of the Civil War. Life in the 19th century was harsh, but they fought through it.